All right, and we are live. All right, hey, today I wanted to come on and talk just a little bit about a topic that you might be dealing with as well. So, a lot of people, if you're like most people, you end up having some self doubt, and sometimes you just get stuck in your head. And I think you probably know what that's like, right? Where something is just going over and over and over in your head and you just can't stop thinking about it. Okay. And sometimes that's not a great place to be because it leads us to having a lot of thoughts and other things that we probably don't want to have. So I want to come on here and talk a little bit about that in a quick and easy way for you to get out of your head that we're going to talk about here in just a minute. But as I get started here, just as a reminder, if you're on with me live, make sure and let me know that you're here. So that way I can see, I can do a call out to you as I'm going through and talking as well. If you have questions, then make sure and let me know as well in the comments. Because usually I'll talk here for a few minutes and then answer some of the questions that come in as well. So what I want to do though is let me go ahead and put a couple of things in the comments area here, because this topic that I'm going to talk about actually comes from the podcast from Jamming with Jason that actually just dropped this week. So let me put a little bit of information in there for you about that. So if you want to get a backstage pass, if you will, how you can actually do that. So that way you get a little bit more information about the different podcasts, and as well where you can actually go to be able to listen to the different podcasts. So there we go. Got some of that information in there for you. And also wanted to, just a minute, let me put in here as well this other one here real quick as we get going. So what I'm putting in here is actually it's the link to the podcast on my website. Now, why would you want to go to the website to listen to this? Well, if you'd like to see the video version of it, that's actually where you can go and listen to it. Actually, watch it. So I know I'm a visual learner, and a lot of people prefer that as well instead of just listening, because obviously you can go out to any of the podcast apps, Spotify, Apple, Podbean, Stitcher, you name it, we're probably out there. So you can listen to the podcast really on any of those players, but you can also access the video on the website. So before we get started, I wanted to do a little shout out to my Los Angeles Rams. They played on Sunday, and I was really proud of them. They actually won, and they looked good. So I've been wearing my Rams hat for the last couple of days in honor of that. And also, I just got this new sweater. So if you know, here in California, it's going to start getting chilly here in a little bit. So in the mornings, I like to wear a sweater, and just got this new sweater actually from Ireland. So I won't try to do my Irish accent at all. But anyway, just really love this new sweater that I got from Ireland. So I was wearing it today as well. So, okay, so let's get in and talk today about the topic, right? And so again, as a reminder, if you're on here with me live, put something in the comments. Let me know that you're here so I can do a shout out to you. And as I'm talking, if you have questions, make sure and put them in the comments as well, because I'll either answer them here on the live or I'll answer them later if you happen to be listening to this as a recording. So let's get back and talking about being in your head. Okay. And I've seen this with a lot of the leaders that I work with. There will be some issue that they're dealing with, some challenge that they're dealing with. And for a lot of people that I talk to, we get taught to, try to work through these issues in our head. And so we start trying to think our way through the challenge and try to figure it out. And so what happens is all of a sudden in our head, it just starts going around and around and around and around. And the more that we think about it, the more we usually get confused. And so the problem is trying to think your way through a problem isn't usually the way to get through a problem. So how do we get out of that? And the reason that I'm talking about this too is because so much of the time when we get stuck in our head, we start telling ourselves things that are not good. And we start getting into some negative self talk. And so, especially, excuse me, if you're dealing with things like self doubt, staying stuck in your head will actually make it worse, right? Because then you start thinking over and over again, oh, I should have known that. I should have been able to do that better. And all of a sudden, we start going down that emotional spiral. We start feeling very anxious. And I don't know, but if you're like me, but I don't really like to feel anxious. And so I appreciate having tools that will help me so that I don't have to feel that way if I don't want to, right? Which is what I want to talk about today. So there's three parts in your body that I want you to think about: your head, your heart, and your gut. Okay, and what ends up happening, each of those areas of our body are kind of associated with certain activities or things. Obviously, our brain, our head is thinking, right? That's where our brain is. That's where we process our conscious thinking. Our heart is usually where we feel. It's where we feel emotion and other things like that, right? If you feel love for somebody, excuse me, a lot of times you'll actually kind of feel it in your heart. And the gut, which a lot of people don't talk about other than eating, but the gut is usually associated with doing. So you can think head, heart, gut. You can also think thinking, feeling, and doing. So if there comes a time when you happen to be stuck in your head and you want to get out of your head, or if you're trying to work through a problem and you're trying to think through it, that's not usually the most effective way to do it. And let me give you an example. How many times have you been trying to think about and think your way to a solution? And after a while, you just get so tired that you get up and you go take a shower, or you go get up and you go do something different. And all of a sudden, a few minutes later, bing, you've got the answer. That's because you moved from your head to actually doing something. You moved to your gut. And as a result of that, it frees up the activity in your brain. It allows your subconscious to actually help you to know what it is that you need to do. And so that's why usually you're going to get a quicker answer if you actually get up and move or feel, right, heart or gut, and get out of your head, which is what we're talking about now. This week on Jamming with Jason podcast, and again, you can find that. Let me bring that up here. It's in the comments, but you can always go out to my website to be able to see that. But I talked with Jen Stillion, and Jen is someone who she's a professional dancer, but has used dance as a way to help people get out of self doubt and overthinking. Because again, a lot of times when we're having those feelings, we try to think our way through it. Where instead, if we get into our heart or get into our gut, we actually can move out of that much quicker. And so, in fact, doing a little chair dance, doing things like that, woo, 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 I'm moving my body, right? And so, as I am moving my body, I get out of my head. And by getting out of your head, as we talked about before, usually you're able to relax your brain muscles and it comes through what needs to come through. So you're able to figure out the answer, or you just get out of some of that negative self-talk, right? That sometimes we get in and it just goes over and over and over and over in our head. And sometimes we just want to get out of that. And so a great way to get out of that again, Jen talks about in the podcast is to be able to use things like dance. Now, why is dance so great? Dance is great because you feel the music and you're also doing. So you're activating your heart and your gut centers. So it forces you to actually get out of your head. Now, I know a lot of people have a hang up with dancing. I've had a hang up with dancing, right? I got told very early that you don't know how to dance. You're not a good dancer. But you know what? I can sit here and chair dance, and ooh, 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 I am really good at chair dancing with myself, right? And it's okay. In fact, it's a great way. It does what's called a hemispheric shift as well in your body, which allows your brain to kind of reset itself at that point, and helps you to be able to move forward and get unstuck. Okay, because that's another term that I hear from a lot of people is I'm just stuck in my brain. I can't seem to get out. I am stuck. Well, if you want to get unstuck, do something to get unstuck. And literally within like a minute, you can actually completely change your outlook, completely change what is going on as well, by using that. Now, again, in this video, I'm not going to go through and show you everything. You got 30 or 40 minutes of Jen actually explaining to you exactly how to do it. Plus, it's pretty fun. We do a little chair dancing, we have a little fun, we laugh. And so you're going to want to make sure and check that out. So, like I said, it's a very simple and easy way to do it. So go check out the podcast and learn exactly how you can do that. So again, if you're on with me live, make sure and hit up in the comments that and let me know that you're here. And that way I can answer if you have any questions about what we've been talking about, or if there's anything else that you want to talk about as well, leave me a comment and I'll answer that question as well. So with that, I'm going to I'll hold on here for just a few minutes longer in case somebody is there that wants to put in a comment. Let me know that you're here and ask a question that I can go ahead and answer here while I am live. And if not, then I'm going to check out because I've got some deadlines that the team is going to be wondering, where is Jason? Which always brings me up to that for a while, I used to put probably 250,000 miles a year on my body, flying all over the world. So there used to be the little joke, where in the world is Jason? And actually, this next week, I'm going to be in Atlanta. So it's the first time in about 2 years that I've actually hopped on an airplane. So next week, you might be wondering, where is Jason? Or one of these lives might be coming to you from a little different background. And that's the reason why. So with that, my friends, have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next time that I do one of these lives. See ya.